Last time on Wanderlust.
It's unsafe to go anywhere in town without escort these days. I think you can all understand, of course.
This feels unnecessary for people who are willingly going.
I'm getting the feeling that the whole talking to the council thing was a ruse.
Certainly not. Certainly not. The council would like to speak with you.
Are you seeing people getting kicked out of town when there are mobs that attack them in the middle of the night?
That's the nicest thing that happens usually, yeah.
Okay, what are the other options?
We leave in other containers.
I don't know, I think maybe we could each take at least one of them.
Mitchell smiles and goes, I'm really worried we could each take more than one of them.
Well, then I'm less worried.
And we would like to use this time to talk about possible solutions to that problem.
Sorry, are you talking about solutions to the fact that the entire town was moved?
That would be correct.
I don't think we know what caused that in the first place.
We don't know anything about this, but all of you seem to. We figured we were in good hands with all of you and trusted you to be our emissaries into this area. I think all of us are about tired of this. Now, we understand, according to you, you don't know what happened. You had nothing to do with it. You've just been responding, right? Here's our question for all of you. Conversation we want to have. We get maybe you don't know what's going on, but we definitely don't know what's going on, and you seem like the only people that might be able to figure it out. Now, see, this is where I think we have a difference, and this is a difference I think we have to address, which is it seems like you guys might kind of like the changes a little bit.
Okay, that is rich.
We weren't hiding. We are working with you.
A loud, future laser sound comes from the back, and you turn around and the room goes completely to chaos. Juliet, it's good to see you again. Current predicament, it seems that we're neighbors now. We certainly didn't used to be, and I'm guessing we all want to know what to do about that.
We don't have to not like it if we can help each other. Does it have to be a bad thing?
Maybe not. I guess what I want is answers as to what is going on and what we can do about it.
The ruins, they were dislocated from their geographic location. That's one.
Can I see what happened to them?
I think that might be our best lead, honestly.
When you have been out there, have you heard from the Forest Phantom at all?
Do you just want to give me the first line, Mandy?
Oh, sure. I think it was something along the lines of, Mole, I haven't thought about this at all because of everything else that I've been doing, but when you've been out there, have you heard from the Forest Phantom at all?
Maul looks around this, very large open meeting room where people are now kind of, tentatively poking their heads back in. And she goes, why don't we go back to my shop and kind of talk someplace more private for a minute?
Lead the way.
So she walks... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was going to say, Zach snarkily wants to ask Doc Marlin if that's okay if we leave now. Autumn doesn't, but Zach...
I think Doc Marlin is just fully in fetal position under a desk.
He's gibbering under a desk. We don't.
Oh, I know.
Maul leads you back through town, and as you go, you kind of get a stark view of how different town looks. Buildings are reinforced. The streets are way darker. There isn't that, constant music and noise and light that was typical at night. There's no moonlight anymore, or at least much less than there typically was for you guys. And you walk your way over to Maul's shop that's just like at this point lit by some dim firelight in the hope that it would, dissuade creatures from coming by her shop. She leads you into the back of the shop where you see the tree growing. At this point now, it's kind of like gone through the roof, like it is growing somewhat quickly. The room back here has kind of become somewhat cozy. I think this is probably like where Maul sleeps typically. So there's like a bed in a corner and like couches and cushions like kind of strewed about. It's a kind of become like a small cozy room surrounding this tree. She kind of sits down on the edge of like her bed that's up against one wall. Yes, so I have seen the Forest Phantom a few times. I don't know that any of us have ever really talked about her, but I mean, I was kind of in between places longer than all of you. I didn't know how much all of you had seen her, per se.
You told me at one point that not to necessarily trust her.
Yeah, I think...
And I'm sorry, I thought at some point I made it clear that we have spoken to her, especially before this last thing started.
No, I understand that. I guess more what I mean is we haven't gone into detail, and I was not explicitly aware of how much all of you had talked to her, and I guess I had not been explicit about the interactions I had had with her. I don't think she, controls the wilds. I don't think that she's the one, masterminding our lives, per se. But I also don't think that she's necessarily, on our side or here to make our lives easier. I think she's just an interested spectator and has frequently shown up for me when things are going both good and bad. But yes, I have spoken to her while I've been out hunting periodically. Is there specific things you guys want to know? I could kind of give you just the vagaries of what she's talked about.
I mean, I know that she's a pretty vague person, phantom, whatever. But did she say anything about what we all just went through? Any reference to actually completing whatever this was? I know that she doesn't. She says she didn't technically set it up, but she clearly is aware of whatever all this is.
Yeah, she did, but only to me, about me. What I mean is she didn't, mention all of you by name. I've been kind of in and out of her world for some time, and she told me she was proud of me because I changed, which I get, but yeah, it's not exactly uncryptic, I guess, but she's kind of watched me for a while now. I mean, it's been years that I haven't lived a single place, and aside from all of you, probably she is the thing I've talked to the most, just because she's the only thing that's been consistent between all the places that I've stopped. So she seemed excited that I became something else, that I've decided to stay here and try to help all of you, but that...
Okay.
I get the sense, though, that she would be happy about any sort of change, though. I don't know how much she cares about you helping us as much as she cares that you're different, right?
That, I think, is probably true. I think she's also interested in how all of you are going to grow, but I think she is interested in growth, in change. And she said the same thing. She said similar things to me, I guess. Every time I've been challenged and changed by my experiences, and sometimes that was pretty awful stuff. So I don't think she's necessarily opposed to the notion of us facing misery.
Yeah, I feel she just feels like someone who wants change for the sake of change, and that's the only thing she finds interesting. So change can be good or bad, so we're kind of stuck with that.
I think change can be good or bad for us. I don't think it can be good or bad. What's bad for us is almost certainly good for something else.
Did she say anything? Is her wanting change why the town moved? Did she say anything about that or why the town moved?
I don't think she controls this stuff. I think she watches what happens.
Okay, has she mentioned anything or had any insight into what we're doing now?
I don't want to seem alarming, I guess, or negative.
Well, I think whatever it is, we need to hear what it is.
She seems more fully grown lately. Like, you guys have all seen her. The first time I saw her, she was kind of like a shrunken, kind of slithering old creature, all bent over, like kind of in a hood of leaves. And then lately, she's been significantly more fully formed and, like, moving more solidly. Her appearance was more refined. Last time I saw her, she was, like, blooming, for lack of a better term. She was in a far more, like, her dress didn't seem to be like a cloak of leaves. It was, like, kind of looked splendid and ornate, like a flowering gown pouring off of her last time I saw her, which was different.
Has she gone through seasons like this before, in the years that you've seen her?
Not since I've seen her or where I saw her, but I think we're somewhere else now. I think we're at her home.
Oh.
I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think that she's pulling the town closer to her. I think we're getting closer to her.
Has she mentioned anything about the heart of the forest?
Maul kind of looks pensive and goes, yeah, to me, she has. And I think it's what I've been walking towards all the times that I've been walking places. It has been mentioned by her before, this kind of destination, a place, a source, a middle, a heart, But I also don't know that I could have found it when I was looking before.
So the Heart of the Wilds is like the center of a whirlpool, and all these other places connect, and the longer you stay in that current, closer you get pulled into the center, whether you want to or not.
Your guess is as good as mine on this one or not, but yeah.
But if we were being pulled to the center by changing, then that means we should be stagnant. But if we're stagnant, we will...
Then you just drowned.
I guess this kind of leads us back to the ruins to see if we can find a way to succeed where they didn't.
That seems reasonable. Maul, what did Lance mean when he said, you know why you'd want to go there?
Lance doesn't think you guys are a threat. And that also means Lance doesn't think you're valuable. That's what he meant. What he meant is that I have a better chance surviving with him than I do with you. And he thinks I care about surviving. He's not wrong, if I'm being honest. He's not wrong. I think in a lot of ways, Lance is better suited to the predicament that we have found ourselves in than all of us are. But it's not the only thing that matters.
Julia puts her hand on the tree.
Maul smiles and goes, I've absolutely seen what I can do to survive, and it's not always the only thing that I want to do. Maybe that will shorten my life, but I would rather play that out than do whatever Lance is likely to do.
Well, good. Me too.
No, but in terms of what the Forest Phantom wants, I don't think she means us harm. Like, I don't think she's attacking us. I don't think she's sending us these places, but I think she's just interested. She's curious.
No, I don't think that she specifically means us harm, but she does seem to know a lot more than we do, whether that's from observing other people or just being around whatever actually is doing this. So, I figured if anyone was going to have, or any being was going to have insight, it was going to be her.
I think that she might, but I think that she also, it's a game for her, right? Like, she wants to see what we do. She wants to see how we respond, how we change, how we adapt, or how we don't. And I think to her, either way, it's interesting. So she's excited, but that sometimes just means she's excited to see how we respond to something horrible. So
right, I don't know that the Forest Phantom is going to be much help. So I think our plan to go in the ruins is as best as we can do.
I don't hate the idea. I mean, we've never really delved into them much, and there's something worth asking about.
Did Mitchell come with us?
Mitchell can be here, yes, sorry.
Okay. As Stell looks over at Mitchell, how's your paranoid meter when you think about us going into the ruins?
Mitchell seemed kind of like he almost wasn't paying attention, and kind of like shakes himself and looks over at you. I want to think it's going to matter whether or not we do this, but I'm concerned that maybe people won't want to hear whatever you learn. There's going to be 2 battles to be had here. It's going to be hopefully not allowing Lance to find out whatever he finds out and utilize it to his advantage, somehow hopefully not against us. But then also it's going to be convincing our town of people who are quite comfortable with the type of life that they had before. It's going to be convincing them that they have to do something different. And that's not going to be fun for them or us.
Well, I think we kind of already got a taste of what that is tonight. I'm not particularly worried about that latter part because the thing is, they can't be comfortable anymore.
I think you're very right.
I think it's important that we do it, and I'm used to caring for things that don't love me back. So that sounds more dramatic than I meant it.
Mo looks at you. I promise I do care about you. I know sometimes I was, like, kind of rough in the beginning. I do care about you. Do you think I don't care about you?
No. No, algae and fungi and plants, they can't care about me. And I still think they're important and worthwhile. So I study them and pay attention to them and make sure they have the nutrients they need to do what they do. And I feel the same way about Smoky Banks. Whether
Mo, like, leans over to Estelle. Do I act like algae and fungus? Do I give algae and fungus vibes?
To me, but I don't think you've been doing that to Juliet.
Autumn whispers, "You literally are part of a tree."
she doesn't know that.
Does she not? Have we not talked?
No, that is true. You technically don't know that.
Okay. I don't say that then. Anyway, Mal,
what
happened?
I feel the same way about Smoky Banks. Whether Smoky Banks wants me in the town or not, or listens to me or not, I think it's important, and I'm going to keep caring for it as best I can.
Mitchell looks at you, and, like, you can kind of see, like, a certain kind of sadness on his face. I think that can work for a time, but that is what I've done for more years than I really like to admit, and the town kind of just accused me of conspiring with forest magic to drive us into a weird forest purgatory, so that can backfire eventually.
Well, I think it's not something that a person can do alone, and I think that it's fine if you're not the only person to do it, you know?
Well, I do now. And he, like, pats Matthew on the back.
I guess what I mean is that you've cared for it for a while, and now other people can care for it too.
No, and I think that's true. I just also think that we have to be aware of what that resistance might mean for us and for the town.
All right, well, ruins in the morning?
Sounds like a plan.
How late is it right now?
Night. Just night.
I think it's got to be like 11 or after by this point, because I think...
Let's call it 11.
Are we, like, early morning, or are we doing after breakfast? How many people do I need to talk to tonight before we leave?
If you don't talk to everyone you want to talk to tonight, that's okay.
I think we could just fade into evening and scenes. We don't have to nail down 8:06 a.m.
So as, like, this conversation winds down, Maul just goes, okay, all of you do, if we're doing this tomorrow, all of you do have to leave, because I do need to sleep. And by all of you, I mean all of you except Juliet. And if Guffy wanted to stay too, that'd be fine. He's actually pretty cute.
He is the cuter one of the Settlemile brothers.
Matthew just goes, now look, I know that you're salty, that I'm obviously the most important and competent person in town, and you see him, like, kind of, like, trailing off, so he goes, yeah, what? Too tired to have this conversation? I got no wits left. he just shuffles out with Guffy, kind of, like, padding after him.
Estelle is going to follow Matthew out and catch up with him.
Okay.
Make sure he gets home upright.
Hey, I know you're tired. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I would like you to get some sleep tonight. But, I just wanted to say, sorry for telling you to have your guys stand down back there. I didn't mean to step on your toes. And, quite frankly, I didn't know that there was even a possibility of those people being here, and I have seen what their weapons can do, and it is scary.
Matthew kind of sighs and he goes, I'm not mad. Like, if the alternative was people that I care about jumping on someone that they were not going to be able to win a fight with, I'd rather know that up front than try to, like, boost my ego for a fight that I can't win. So, now I'm done. If you know more than me about something, I'd rather you tell me that you know more than me about something.
Are you planning on going into the ruins or with us, or are you planning on staying here?
I'm probably going to stay here.
Okay. I don't know how many of them are out there, or if they're planning on... more of them are planning on trying to find us. I don't know what can stop what weapons they have. If you saw the lizard thing that Maul brought in.
Yeah.
That's what it can do. And when we were out there, while you were a tree, it almost killed Juliet. And I don't want that to happen to you. So just please be careful.
I guess the good news is, depending on their numbers, there really isn't a reason we can't help them for right now. So, I mean, if the trade-off is they want our food, like, I think they're going to be a drop in the bucket of the real issue, which is we're not getting enough food for all of us, but that margin's large enough that I don't think that 10 more mouths from them are really going to change anything.
I don't know how... I want you to be able to pass that along to your people.
No, honestly, it's good to know, because what I'm far more worried about is someone on our end doing something stupid. They seemed like they were calm, collected, and confident, and that does not describe most of the people of Smoky Banks.
You just have a lot of very young and willing guys, which
feel
is not
like
a problem.
My people that I've worked with would be fine. I'm more worried that, a one of the Dark Marlins will get nervous and start shooting his mouth off to someone who's less friendly than all of us. That's far more of my concern, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good concern to have. Speaking of Doc Marlin, I don't think I'm going to have a chance to speak with the council again before we head out. You probably at least will be able to speak with, Grandma? Can you please make sure to tell her that at least and I'm pretty sure the rest of the Wild Watchers, we had no idea that we were going to be around these people, even though we were aware of them from being out there. There was no indication that they would be our neighbors. We're not trying to withhold information here.
Yeah, I think that for the time being, I can at least convince the council that you're looking for solutions to the current problems by exploring evidence in the ruins or something like that. I can put it delicately. But they're gonna have questions when you get back, and
I'm happy to I think at least me and Juliet are happy to attempt to answer whatever they throw at us.
You know, I'm fine if we're less than courteous at some point. They're annoying. I'm not gonna, I love Grandma, but, she has to, I think, at least somewhat agree with decisions made by the council, and, I might run out of patience, but I'm also not sleeping a ton and frustrated.
Estelle hesitates for a second, and then she reaches out and hugs him and gives him a kiss on the cheek. Stay safe.
Absolutely. Also, you're definitely taking Guffy.
I guess.
Okay, look, I have, 20 of my closest friends watching my back.
Oh, hey, Guffy. Can you get some sleep tonight?
Yeah, I mean, no, but yeah, I sleep during the day mostly, but,
I'll take Guffy.
Are you taking Mitchell too, or am I babysitting Mitchell?
I think that's up to Mitchell. I don't know what
I don't think it is. I think he's gonna do whatever you ask him to do.
I think it's up to him.
You might wanna clarify with him what your preference is. Look, all I'm saying was there was a couple weeks where he wasn't hanging out with you and he was hanging out with me, and it's kinda, he's fine, but, he stares off into the distance and then says cryptic sad things, and it's not always great for morale.
Alright, look, if it's gonna be a problem, I'll take him with me.
Oh boy, we get the cryptic sad things.
Alright. Meanwhile, Autumn, as you walk back to... You just share, an apartment now with Willow, right?
We have a beach house, I think, is what you said.
When did I say you have a beach house?
You said that Willow probably does.
Oh, Willow might. Yeah.
She lives in a little bungalow by the beach.
Yeah, she has a beach house.
Oh!
So we're definitely moving into the beach house and not into the smaller apartment.
As you are walking back towards the little bungalow on the beach, she slips her hand into yours and goes...
Was she there the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a surprise for you that I think you're going to like.
Well, if it's anything like last night, then obviously.
It is nothing like last night. I promise you that. It is, well, I guess kind of more boring. It's more boring or less boring, depending on... I'm worried to say that it's more interesting to me because of... I'll just show you when we get home.
Autumn kisses her.
She kisses you back as you guys walk. When you get in, you can see that she's, very clearly excited as she, rustles through her house that is kind of... It's a little bit cluttered. There's stuff everywhere. She definitely has, taken apart little things all over the place, It's like a place where no toaster is safe, from her, tearing it apart and looking at its wires. So, she comes running out of a room, her little, whatever, wherever she has like a little workshop in her house. She comes running out of there and puts something small in your hand, and like to look at, it just looks like a very indescript like project box. Like I don't know if you've like seen things like this, right? Where it's like, this is just like a generic box that you cram circuitry into with a door, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, okay, I need you to like leave. Just like go away a bit. This sounds less romantic than I think. It's better than you think it is. Just go away for a little bit.
I'm just getting mixed signals here, you know, just a little bit as she jokes as she walks to the door.
So as you walk out, there's like maybe a couple minute pause as you're walking down the beach, and then you hear a crackling voice, and you hear, hello, can you hear me? If you can hear me, just, there's buttons on the side, just press those, and then you can talk, but you can't talk at the same time as me.
Oh, you're done talking.
I'm done talking.
I feel like there should be a code word or something we have to say that so we don't talk over each other.
Yeah, it's gonna be stop. Stop.
Are you stopping?
Sorry, I meant I was stopping. Stop.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Is this like portable talk? How far does this go?
Did you say, are you done?
Stop. We need to work on this a lot. Stop.
We'll do a new code word. My current new code word for my new vote for a code word is maybe I don't have one. I'm getting nervous. Stop.
That feels like a really long code word to go every time. Stop.
Just come back. This is ridiculous. Stop.
I love you. Autumn goes back.
As soon as you walk in the door, she just goes, you didn't say stop. I couldn't say it back because you didn't say stop, so it was still your turn to talk because you didn't say stop.
Stop. She does hold up the thing next to her and goes, stop.
Yeah, so it's sort of similar to what Mitchell had when he was sheriff. It's just a little bit smaller, and I made it out of scrap bits I found around, so it means that we can talk to each other while you're doing whatever you do. But yeah, I made it a little while ago. I've been testing it. I don't exactly know the range yet. It's at least all of the town, because that's how far I was able to test it, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend going outside of town right now. Unless...
No, not my plan to. So, I guess this will kind of be the field test of what the range of it is.
Well, I don't think we're going very far, but it'll be nice to talk to you.
Right, that's what I thought. That way we can keep in touch, make sure, whatever, that we're doing okay,
Not being eaten by a giant monster.
Do you think you're going to be eaten by a giant monster?
Oh, I have no idea what's going to happen in the ruins. Honestly, all I've heard is that these people have really strong weapons, and that scares me, because it almost killed Juliet, but I was also kind of dead at this point, so I don't really know how bad they are.
You got killed by a monster, not by a guy with some kind of, sci-fi blaster.
Yes, I've done that already, so I kind of know what to expect when it comes to the monster fighting thing. The sci-fi blaster.
I don't know that you're gonna get, another one for free, but...
And I'm not saying I'm gonna get one for free, I'm just saying I know what to expect if a giant wolf shows up. I haven't had to fight someone with a sci-fi blaster. The wolf didn't have, reflective mirrors for eyes to shoot moonbeams at me. I'm sorry.
It's fair. It's fair. But, I just wanted to, say there's a way for us to keep in touch and, listen to what's going on in the world or whatever.
You sure you still want to be with me after tonight and everything? And I'm not trying to be melodramatic that, I'm not, a catch, because I totally am. But
no,
I understand if you need to not be a pariah.
Not really worried about that. I shouldn't say I'm not worried about that. This is my home, and threats to it are concerning to me, but I actually think you're the best hope our home has of surviving this, and I don't want you to not be a part of that if you want to be. I don't like the idea of Smoky Banks turning its back on you because bad things happened to start happening when you arrived. So, if the town's going to treat you like a pariah, they can treat me like a pariah. But I think even if the world's creepier, it's bigger than Smoky Banks. So, we'll make something work.
She gives her a kiss.
She kisses you back and will kind of like pan away on your evening with Willow. Fred, do you want to talk to Ruben tonight or tomorrow? Tomorrow is an acceptable answer, but, up to you.
I think... I mean, it's pretty late.
That is fine. It can be tomorrow.
But no, this is pretty important. I don't think he'd want to wait just in case. So I think he'll try to go find Ruben now.
Okay. Zach, you had your hand up.
I just want to let you know there's another scene I want to have with someone else.
Who?
Aurora.
That is fine. Tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, that seems like, she would wait till tomorrow, but she doesn't want to leave town without telling her sister as well. Like, feels like a faux pas after,
After she made a big stink about it last time.
Gestures at every decision Autumn has made in the last 3 arcs.
Alright, so, Fred, you go off to find Ruben. He, I will say, is kind of like at the recycling yards. Yeah, he has a house maybe over by there,
Wait.
and he's always a bit of a night.
Ruben or...
Did I say Ruben? Sorry, not Ruben.
You did say Ruben. Lawson.
Wait, hang on a second. Hang on.
Ruben is the one that I suggested you talk to because he's the one that had the laser up in the lighthouse.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
For some reason, I was thinking you meant Scrapyard guy, but if you meant Ruben, that works too.
No, I meant the guy who had the laser in the back of the lighthouse. Yeah.
Now, I will say in this case, I think I would allow either of these to be the case. So whichever person you want to talk to, like the goal here is that you want to try to like have some kind of portable laser, like moon laser, right? So
potentially, yes.
So like if the goal is Fred wants to try to make like some kind of armament to bring with them, I think narratively either one of those people could make sense and it'll just change the flavor of the scene a little bit.
Okay.
So that is up to you.
I just want to let you know, Fred, whichever one you pick will lock out the romance option with the other one. This is one of those defining moments.
If I'm being honest, he would probably go to... It is Lawson at the scrapyard, right?
Yes, that's fine. That's not a bad idea.
Okay. It would probably be Lawson that he'd go to first because he's already has like a relationship with him. I think Ruben would be glad that I'm not intruding on his space anymore because he didn't seem particularly happy that we were there last time.
So you head out to the scrapyard. It's just kind of generally where anything that is salvageable gets placed. So that could very well be old lens weapons that maybe were used when there was more conflict between eco-herbs might still be piled up over here. The like shack that is on the grounds of this thing, like you can see the lights are on. And Lawson is like sitting outside in like a rocking chair, just smoking a pipe.
Oh, hey there, Lawson. How's it going this evening?
As you walk up, Lawson goes, "That was quite a display that you put on in the council meeting, I must say."
What do you mean by that?
Well, we wanted to have a nice conversation, and then people out of, fantasy stories waltz in, seemingly from nowhere, and start meeting with all of you like you're the ones in charge of the town.
I don't think it's so much that they were coming at us because we're the ones in charge of the town. It's just we've met them before. We met them out in the wilds. At least we met the one guy.
That might be. Well, Fred, what can I do for you this evening?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Those guys that came into the meeting there might be trouble. Not sure yet. They certainly have better weapons than we do, and I don't particularly want to take them in a fight, but I want to be prepared in case we have to. I was wondering if you and any of your scrapping here had seen any of those old laser rifle, like mere laser rifle things that we used to have that I've heard about.
Rifle is not exactly accurate for what they were. And he, like, gestures over to something, like, roughly the size of a car. That is, like, this complex array of giant lenses and mirrors that's meant to focus moonlight and create these, like, laser grids that are shot out in defense.
That is a lot bigger than I was thinking of.
Well, welcome to whatever you can find. I hope you're comfortable with what that means. These haven't been used in years on years.
Yeah, I'll take a look and see what I can make of it. Fred's going to go take a look and see what he can make of it.
All right. As you walk off, Lawson kind of says aloud to the knight, carrying something like that, it's a statement of how far you're willing to go. Just keep that in mind. Make me an investigation check of some sort to try to dig up parts. So what I'll say is going to happen here is you're building something, and how well you roll is going to determine how good of a thing you build.
Okay, I mean, I guess if it's an investigation type check, notice is like the only thing I have for that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. There's going to be 2 rolls here. There's going to be a notice roll that's going to determine how easy it is to build something, and then there's going to be the building it roll.
Ah, okay. A 0 for the notice.
Okay, so it takes a while. You manage to find a lot of really big mirrors and lenses and stuff. I mean, they're like easily, if you imagine a solid piece of glass that's as big around as your torso and like an inch thick, that's heavy. That's not like some lightweight little easy thing to move around. And cutting and refining glass is also not necessarily a trivial thing to do, but you manage to like drag together a load of this stuff that you think you might be able to cobble together and drag it back to your workshop. Make me a roll to craft some kind of portable laser array.
Oh, this better go better. Actually, it can't go worse. It's not possible for it to go worse. That is a 5.
Okay.
I rolled all blanks.
So, here's what I will say. By default, assembling one of these things, like I said, these were like turrets. They were not like handheld or backpack things, right? So you could build a turret that would require like a lot to move it, but you rolled really well. So with that, I will give you 2 major modifications to the status quo of this object, right? So imagine this is like, 2 large changes away from this is this would need to be mounted on the back of a car sized thing that needs moonlight to shoot, that is meant to create like grid patterns for defense. That's what these things are by default. You could change it twice. How would you like to change it?
Okay. Okay, so you said it's like giant, so it's not something that one person could carry.
At the moment, you're allowed to change it twice.
Right. Okay, I think I've got a good idea for how this would work. It no longer needs moonlight. What Fred can do instead is take some of his mystery metal, the ones that glow and heat up, and you just heat that metal up and put it in like a little receptacle, and that supplies the light for it.
That makes sense, like that. Kind of the grabby, glowy on steroids.
Yes. And then also, it is now the size of a backpack that one person could carry, but it is basically their entire... I mean, I guess, if you think this is too far, let me know. I was thinking that it's now the size of like a backpack, but it would be like their entire load. It's basically all they would be able to carry, but obviously it'd be less effective. It's not a turret anymore. It's like single target type deal.
Can I make a suggestion on that?
Sure.
I would be fine with it being like a thing you guys could push around, but it is like a cart, not like a not like a backpack. You could lift it and carry it, but it would require like an effort to move this thing. It is meant to be pretty heavy.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
So I would say that you had the thing of new power source and much smaller.
Yes.
All right. Is there anything else Fred wants to do before he kind of like falls asleep after getting like a very small amount of, or I guess before getting a small amount of sleep?
I think that's it. I think he's pretty exhausted, so he's gonna kind of collapse after doing all that work.
All right. Cool. Juliet, as you fall asleep, you are in like that back room in Maul's office, you know, snuggled up with Maul. You feel her arm around you. There's dim firelight burning in the room that's kind of like burning down, and you're looking at this tree that almost in your mind you can feel like you can see growing as it sets its roots deeper and deeper and deeper in this place. And as you're just drifting off to sleep, you can feel yourself imagine that you're following those roots down, 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 below the town, deep into the darkness, until finally you feel like you can see one of those roots just breaking through into a deep cavern where there is almost no light except for one tiny, tiny, tiny ray of light coming from some crack in the ceiling, hundreds of feet up, shining down onto one tiny flower growing way, way far down. As you stare at that flower, you can start to like feel your eyes adjust a little bit to the gloom, and you see a tail coiling around it. A tail that's made of chitinous, interlocking stones that are as dark as the cavern. It starts small and gets larger and larger and larger as the segments spiral around this whole chamber. And as you sit there, you feel them start to shift and contort and tighten around this tiny beam of light far deep under smoky banks. And you startle awake in Maul's arms. You feel her wake up and she whispers in your ear, "What's wrong?"
I don't know yet, but I think we might have some surprises in the ruins.
The next morning, Autumn, I think you probably get up early. You're used to being an early riser to get up and exercise and do all your stuff. You said you wanted to go and talk to your sister. Do you want to just head over to where the apartment she's staying at? Do you think you agreed to meet her someplace?
I can meet her in her apartment. That's fine, you know.
Okay.
Somewhere where we're like private-ish, you know. Like, so if you want to, it's either. I don't care.
Yeah. You go up to her apartment. It's pretty early, and I don't know, just like knock on the door.
Yeah, I just not wait for her to open.
So you knock, there's like a long pause. Eventually she like creaks the door open. You can see she probably just woke up. Whoa. So you still get up like really, really early, huh? Just right at the crack of dawn.
Yeah? You still sleep in a lot?
Well, come in.
Hey, I usually I would wait, but I'm heading off into the ruins today, and I wanted to let you know before I ran headlong into danger.
Why? Not why are you telling me? That's not what I mean. Sorry. Why are you going into the ruins?
We think there might be something down there that can help get us back to Nova Thea, is our hope.
Okay. Why are you doing that?
You were there for the town meeting last night.
I sure was, yeah.
Who would you pick instead?
Literally.
And don't say anyone. Don't say anyone that's not...
Literally anyone. Literally anyone.
Do you think they would actually succeed?
I don't know.
Tell me how you think Doc Marlin would do.
Doc Marlin is an old man and is clearly useless. I'm not talking about Doc Marlin. That's not my point. Why do you feel like you have to? I'm not asking why you can. I believe that you can. I'm asking why you are. And because you can, is maybe not a good reason. Why are you specifically feeling like you need to do this?
People need help, and I'm not going to stay here and watch us all die. I need to help people. And, well, someone needs to help these people, and I'm not going to sit by and wait for us to play nose goes to see who has to go into this. I am capable. I am willing. I am being precautious. I have a nice little doodad Willow made me so you can hear me if you need to check in to help yourself sleep at night. We're still working out the bugs, but we're going to figure out how to communicate because you can't talk over each other. It's a whole thing.
She pauses for a second and goes, I'm gonna ask the question one more time, but maybe what I'm trying to say here is, why do you feel like helping these people is placed squarely on your shoulders? I understand there's like 4 or 5 of you, but again, it's all of our responsibility, I guess, at some point. Why you? Why are you deciding to do this?
So if you asked me that when I first started doing it, my answer would have been something like, I want the adventure, I can do this. But now, I don't think those things are untrue. I like the adventure, and if I said I didn't like the thrill, I know you wouldn't believe me and you'd just call me a liar and be right.
I'd probably just say why again.
Okay, yeah. But I think I am uniquely qualified with my friends to do this. I, in some fashion, know what to expect. And some of that is from my pulpy books that I read, which are fiction, but give me more of an idea of what to not be surprised by. And I've been out there multiple other times to help people. Everyone else in this town, to some degree, lives in fear of what's out there. If you could even convince one of them to go, I don't think they would be able to manage enough to not get themselves killed. In addition to that, I think my friends need me. I don't think no, Estelle's worked out, but Juliet and Fred does some blacksmithing, but Juliet went out into the wilds with a 40-pound backpack, and I think she weighs 80 pounds.
Is Juliet canonically tiny?
I don't think so, no.
I mean, she's, I imagine her, thin.
She's not muscular, but I don't think she's tiny.
As you say that, your sister gives you a hug, and as she does, she just goes, I understand you're going to do this. I don't resent that, but I do think you need to think about the why. And because you can is not really a reason, but you want the thrill and you think you're helping by chasing it is not an answer. I don't mind that being the answer. I just don't want you to feel like you have to simply because you can.
I don't think right now I have the luxury of making that distinction.
I think you do, but it just won't go well.
You're right. I can choose to not go, and there is a non-zero chance that my friends die and then we all slowly starve to death. Because the vet keeping alive all of the marine life is going into this pit.
As you say that, she just goes, I need to start writing some paperwork about single points of failure in Smoky Banks. Don't let that person die. That now sounds really bad, actually.
But I understand what you're saying, that I should not feel obligated to do this, but also want to do what I'm doing.
Let me maybe rephrase that. It's not that I don't want you to feel obligations to this place, but if the reason is solely obligation, I think it's worth you knowing that. If the reason is solely that you want the thrill, I think it's worth knowing that. But
I mean, I also want to keep my girlfriend safe. And you safe.
That's also not an unworthwhile goal, but I think it's worth knowing what that answer is. That's all I'm saying.
All right, be safe while I'm gone, okay?
No, and I'm not going to ask you to do the same thing either, because I know you won't.
Also, can you get, elected to town council or something and kick their ass?
I can start doing really annoying logistics for them, and they will not like me.
I mean, I don't think they like me, you know. We can see which Amalu sister they hate more by the time I get back.
Yeah, being liked is lame. Get out of here.
Love you, sis.
I love you too. And she, like, you see her, like, yawn and go start making tea as you leave. Where do all of you meet up?
The ruins.
The ruins are technically on, like, the other side of...
No, they're on the other side of the river, yeah.
Well, and... Okay, like, where did we had, like, that picnic at the very, very beginning on, like, the overlook?
Yeah, there's, like, a path that leads up to the ruins that are in, like, a cliff. There's a cliff face, and then up top there is where the ruins are.
I think we probably meet at that picnic area if it's still there.
So, okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of playing someone's character here for a second. So I'll say, all of you except Fred meet up there, and are like, wow, what is taken Fred so long? And then you, like, look over and see Fred dragging a cart laden with a mirror death ray on it up this slope by himself.
I mean, that's appropriate. I don't mind you making that character decision for me.
I do have a question. Like,
Yeah.
are we like spelunking backpacking this, or are we like day tripping it?
You have no idea the answer to that question.
Juliet has a large backpack regardless.
Apparently it weighs half her body weight, which is insane.
It doesn't. It does not.
I was exaggerating for effect. I didn't want to be like, and Juliet, a weakling who Autumn has to drag around.
No, I like the idea of you really getting exactly precise about her body weight with no possible bad feelings from that at all. Autumn's just the type of person that can guess weight by looking at you. It's really annoying.
She would be great at carnival games. Too bad those carnival games don't exist in this world.
All right, so all of you are up there. Fred has a cart laden with a death ray. Oh, and just so you know, like, yeah, Mitchell and Maul with you on this one. So is Guffy.
So are we planning on being there a few days? Should we, like, pack our bags, like, if we're gonna be down there? Or are we just doing a quick day dive, or...
Oh, I kind of assumed this was going to be, like, a few days.
Good, me too. That way we don't have to montage me going to the commissary. Oh man, I just have to imagine the dirty looks we get when we're taking extra food rations this time.
I will say, I think that's going to be a question for next episode, is how much food you guys are bringing with you, but we can cover that next time. That'll be okay. We don't have to get into... I didn't tell you guys to think about that for this session, so we'll hand wave it next time.
Well, Estelle, is there there's not like an underground part. Where is the place that is least explored that Lance would have gone?
Cody, could I roll something? Because canonically in my past, I did spend time, like, in the wilds and around the ruins.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would have a pretty good idea of at least an unexplored part, if not kind of where he might be.
So I will say this part is going to be kind of up to how you want to try to find this entrance. There are multiple paths here, kind of as many as you can make up in your own head. You have to try to find more about the ruins however you want to do that. You can do that by trying to chase Lance and see where he went. You can do that by trying to uncover mysteries in the ruins. You can do that in as many ways as you can think of. But it'll just, all of those will be rolls and, you know, have different levels of success.
Ooh, so Fred told us about his vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I want to find what building that might have been. Like if there's like a prominent mansion or something, like based on what he described, I want to try to locate that building.
Oh, interesting. Okay, got it. Estelle, what are you feeling?
Okay, I want to use, I'm going to argue that this is my animal handling skill. I want to be looking for tracks that were left by Lance and his cohort And I'm also going to remind me how I do this, but invoke the aspect of it's my hometown to add to my roll because I kind of know where
Spend a fate point. Yeah, get plus.
Spend a fate point. I'm going to do that so that because I know if I can pick up on the direction, my argument here is if I can pick up on the direction that they are going, I can figure out where an entrance might be.
Love it. Autumn and Fred, what are you both doing? I will say this does not have to be bespoke, but also can be.
I think I'm just helping out Estelle.
Estelle? Okay. Fred, what you doing?
I think Fred is going to try to hide the laser cart thing kind of on the entrance of the ruins. Obviously doesn't want to be bringing it in, if we catch the lance, oh, by the way, here's this weapon we bought or that we made to fight you. Probably not a good idea.
Gotcha. So I will say in this case then, given that you have a choice of do you want to be with Estelle, or do you want to be with Juliet, or do you want to be by yourself?
So Autumn went with
Estelle.
Autumn is with Estelle.
Then Fred will go with Juliet.
Okay.
We'll split the party relatively evenly.
Let's start with Estelle. Estelle, make me that roll.
Okay, how much does invoking an aspect add?
+2.
7.
Dang. Okay. So what you notice right away is there is stuff out of place in the ruins, and not oh, we got transported and things are weird now. You start finding these big metal stakes that have blinking lights on them, in what is clearly a grid formation. You find one and you look down a line, you can see them spaced maybe every half mile going, and then you look another way, you can see them spaced every half mile. You go to the next one, it's the same. So it's basically a grid of these stakes that are placed everywhere. As you start chasing through these, it becomes really apparent what this is. The lights that are on the top most of them were glowing red, and as you started following them, they started changing colors, and basically in a cone coming into a point, one stake is lit up green, but outside of that they're lit up yellow, outside of that they're lit up red. So it's basically it was zeroing in on a point. So that point that you find is pretty deep in these ruins. So what these ruins are, just to give a little bit more detail, like I said, architecturally, there's something that is very different from Smoky Banks and anything else in your history, but they are largely collapsed. So there isn't big standing structures necessarily, and if there are, there's maybe only a story or two left of something that used to clearly be larger. So you can look across them pretty easily because they've all collapsed in so much and are overgrown with plant life and weeds and trees and stuff. But, if you kick down far enough, you'll find, stone under your feet from where there were roads. The area that these lead to, this is almost kind of there'd be this knee-jerk upsetting thing in your head, as this is a monument that's been kind of defaced, sort of. It is not something that you would typically do to, stab these stakes all over the place through what is, untouched, immaculate, extremely valuable to you ruins that have been a definitive part of your culture for a long time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This would be if you found these all over Stonehenge or something, which I guess I know is right by a freeway, but you know what I mean. When you get to where there's that green stake and you start looking around, again, you rolled super well, you see an area where there has been massive amounts of excavation done, just earth has been pulled up and moved. There's a pile of dirt digging down into one of these ruined structures that clearly caved in and started filling in with dirt. You can see where stones have been smashed and eventually revealed a staircase kind of leading down into the darkness that clearly Lance had followed. And all of this to you, by the way, again, you rolled really, really well here, so you're getting a lot of information that would be a little bit more vague here. This was clearly done by technology that you guys do not have.
Yeah.
This was space age tech that moved a lot of Earth really fast to dig down to this staircase that they found by using some kind of seismographic array to start mapping what was underneath, and found a hole that they could start chasing down in.
Yeah.
All right, Juliet, make me a roll to try to find this building that Fred saw.
Notice, okay.
Notice is okay.
4.
All right. So tell me again specifically what you're looking for.
So she's kind of like going back and forth with Fred because like he's described what he saw before, but she's asking him like really detailed questions about like, what was the size of the room? What was the shape of it? Were there windows? Where were the doors? Like that sort of thing to try to narrow down what building it might be.
Gotcha.
And see if he can glean more information, like if he gets to that place, you know?
Sure. So as the two of you are...
Actually, why is Fred not just licking everything?
Could be, but you're going to really start tripping. You're going to have a psychedelic experience at some point. You know what I mean?
I guess, yeah, the visions aren't short, yeah.
Yeah, if you just opened your mouth and ran your tongue along the ground and sprinted, you would have a moment. You know what I mean? Fred would become a cosmic traveler.
Mechanically, he can only do it 3 times per arc.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
Unless I keep giving him fate points for I don't know, doing something intentionally stupid, like licking a bunch of rocks and seeing what happens. Anyways, moving on. At this point, again, the ruins are kind of flattened, but they're not totally, and there is, growth happening. The area that you find yourself in, these stakes are very red, right? This is not the area that Lance dug down into. Kind of from context clues, you put together that this was some kind of person in authority. Probably they would have been in a central area. This seemed like some kind of dining hall that probably wouldn't be on the 5th floor, so it might actually still be there and not collapsed. You can see the kind of general street arrangement, and that maybe this area that you find yourself in is the only place that had a large courtyard, maybe some toppled statues, things like that, things that would be old, weathered indicators of station is what you're looking for, right? So eventually you could see where there was maybe a internal wall that's toppled in. There are maybe a row of statues that almost look like they might have been fountains at one point that have all been smashed and fallen over and now growing up with trees that managed to find root holds in some of the water that was left. And then you see this would kind of also probably be one of the last standing buildings, as this might be a some kind of fortress, right? Where this person lived, if this was this internal castle, right? But that has largely toppled. But you could guess at this toppled, dark, ruined, at this point to you, maybe now it even seems kind of small manor house that is probably, you could guess at where this person lived. Maybe through a window you could see something definitive. Maybe you saw a couple of those statues that lined their way to it. But there is this remnant of that you find, this dark, collapsed building. Maybe there's still an archway a couple of stories above it, but it's all crumbled in and you can just kind of see into it. But, the details are sparse as you look in on this place.
Is there anything... I don't know if there would be anything permanent that would say something about kind of their decline. You know what I mean?
I do. There's certainly nothing on the outside of the building that would say anything permanent about their decline.
Oh, okay. Can I go in?
Yes. Make me... Do you have a sneak or a...
Are you going to wait for the rest of the group, Juliet?
That's not what Juliet said. That's not what's happening now. I guess make me some kind of roll of maneuvering through a...
Athletics?
I could take athletics.
Athletics or Dexter's hands, they're the same.
I'll take athletics. Fred, are you coming with?
Yeah.
That's a 4.
Okay, Fred, similar check.
What was the check? Sorry.
Some sort of athletic sneak.
Maneuvering through a ruined manor house from a bygone era.
Crafting?
No. Mm-mm. Not unless you're crafting full spelunking gear.
I don't think I have really anything for this then.
You don't have a sneak?
Not a sneak. The only really physical one I have would be physique.
I would use that.
I don't really have anything else.
I'll take physique in this case. You're clambering over stuff. There's, you have to imagine this is 5 floors of a castle in the first floor, right? Like, this is all smashed, collapsed, beams have fallen in, it's dark.
Is a 1.
Okay. This is difficult going. Like I said, as soon as you walk in, you can see sort of, it looks like this thing slurped into its center as supports in the middle of the building weakened and collapsed over time. Plant life is clearly growing in here, kind of searching for light as little vines and roots are sinking into the stones looking for dirt, and branches are creeping out through any break they can find to find sunlight and then bloom. And you kind of like wedge and shift rocks around, trying to clamber your way deeper and deeper and deeper into this, maybe looking for that specific room or what's left of it where that statue was found or where that statue was at some point delivered. As you do, you are maybe like shifting one rock, right? You push it over. You can now see into like an open area, maybe like at the very back of this manor, right? And you're expecting to maybe see, like I said, that dining room that you saw. And as you shift this last rock, you feel like a rush of air and like this lurch as there is a shift in air pressure from you moving that. Air rushes in and you look down into a chasm sunk deep, deep, deep into the earth. The path, which, I mean, to give a measurement here, maybe 40 feet wide, you know, big. This like twisting, chewed out core out of the world, right? That's sinking down. As you look at like the walls, you can see like striations in the rock and in the soft soil, almost like something twisted down into the world here.
Like a chitinous sort of scales might have scraped it.
I didn't say that.
That's what Juliet is wondering. Can I confirm that with a roll?
You know what? Yeah. Go ahead and make me some kind of academic roll here. Well, I mean...
Like animal anatomy?
Yeah, honestly, you could make an argument for that here.
That is a 2.
It's always nice to roll stuff you don't roll often, right?
Right.
This was not made by machines. And this was not made by a seismic event.
Okay.
That's all I'm giving you as a definite. Anyways, as you look down into the darkness and you're like, this was definitely made by something living. You know, maybe like you and Fred have like pushed your way in here. You're looking down into this like very deep, very dark hollowing in the ground. And you see 2 sets of eyes open in that beam of light coming from behind you where you've moved this rock. There was that rush of air. You know, there's light pouring into here for the first time. You see it reflect off of some glittering eyes. You hear this rocky shuffling, like stones falling down, but coming up towards you. And then another set of eyes opens. You hear this same, like, shifting of rocks as something starts crawling up, and then more and more and more sets of eyes open far down in the gloom. Thanks for listening to this episode of Wanderlust. Music for this show is credited down below. If you like this campaign, you can find more of our shows at the Wandering Gamer website or on Podbean. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links in the description. Now bear in mind, in the wilds, some wander to get lost. and some wander to find themselves.